Chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achnu b'dvarei. Like I mentioned last night, today is the yahrzeit of Meir Bana. Yeah, right there. So I want to do the learning in his memory. Leilui Nishmas Meir ben Yitzchak, an Ish of Emes, Ish of Emet. Amen. Amen. Please open up in the PSS and Chovas Hatalmidim to the bottom of page Chav Daled. Now, the last thing we spoke about was how when you really want to get to a children's heart, remember something. They can't tolerate sadness. Remember that we were learning this? Akiva, you were here last time, right? But children can't bear to see sadness when you're trying to give over a message to them. Even if what you have to give over to them is pretty heavy, doing it through sadness is not the way that's going to penetrate their hearts. They're not going to want to understand what you're saying if you're coming up to them and saying, please, please. Did it ever work? Does it work for you guys when you're at the end? And there's this plea of you, they showing how sad you are, and they're like, oh, okay, now I'll stop. Hey, momentarily. But to get the point across in a real way, mamash lo. And this sefer has all been about he's not doing chidushim in chinuch per se. And he keeps on saying this, not innovations in chinuch at large. It's just a constant, I would say, refocusing on what it is you're trying to do with students, with your children. What are you even trying to do? How are you trying to interact in the best, proper way that the interaction between us and our children and our students will have kavod shamayim, yirat shamayim, and what the Baal Shem Tov meant with the whole Chiddush of Chassidus as well. Elements of Chassidus, which I can remind you all the time, it's pretty clear that the Piasetzner, who's alive 180 years after the Baal Shem Tov, felt that the whole Chiddush of Chassidus was already forgotten by his generation. And it became just a movement, institutionalized, without that heart of the Chiddush when the Baal Shem Tov came onto the scene. And we see it, we keep on seeing that happen. That happens quite often in circles. It's just the way these things progress. I'm sure with Tziyonu, honestly, that's exactly how I feel about Rav Kook's Chiddush. In many of the world, in the religious Zionist circles and the yeshivas and that, it just became this kind of a movement that stopped moving. But it's a label. This is what I am. This is what my beliefs are. But can you imagine if our belief was that you must strive for a passion to love like Rav Kook loved? That'd be a pretty high, yeshiva you had to, imagine if the acceptances for yeshivas in Rav Kook's name were okay. So can you show us how you lay in a blada kamara? Okay, so whatever you do, they put you in whatever grade. Now, tell us, when was the last time you cried over loving Am Yisrael? So what would be the mifchan knesat to the Piasetzner's world over here? It would be more or less, when was the last time you cried over not how far your children are, but over how far you feel from being able to give over to them what you think the Baal Shem Tov was all about?
I think the hardest test would be for the Mechanchim themselves to get in.
Could be. All right. So we're continuing with trying to, again, penetrate the heart of the kid, which really means penetrate our own. Because obviously, Baruch Hashem, we're all parents here. And what do we want more than anything? We want to be able to really talk to our children. We want to be heard by our children, and we want to hear we really want to hear our kids. That's machaneh meshutaf to everybody in this room, and any parent. And this sefer is helping us, remember, just strive towards that goal, keep the eye on the prize. Okay. Bottom of Chavdal, like you see the previous paragraph, Nefesh hayeled ve'anar eina sovelet et hatzvut. Remember, don't bring your sadness trip onto the child, thinking they'll see that it's through sadness and pain they'll get what you're trying to tell them. Uma me'od meir lanu hashla. The shla. You know what the shla stands for? Anybody know? Shnei luchos sabris. Rabbi Horowitz. He is a big, huge tzaddik, huge Talmid Chacham. His svarim are amazing, very Kabbalistic as well. So the Shla says, Zichrono livrocha b'darkeinu b'inyanei chinuch dureinu, regarding the chinuch of our generation. He brings a pasuk, be'omro la pasuk, al tochach letz pen yisnaeka hochach lechacham beyehaveka. Don't rebuke a letz. You know what a letz is? Like moshav leitzim, yeah. Like, what's a good word for him? But someone that doesn't take you too seriously. Why? Because what will end up happening? Pen yisnaeka. He'll end up hating you. But then he says, Hocheach lechacham, but if you rebuke someone that's smart, v'yehaveka, he'll end up loving you. So what's the pshat of that? Simple. No, it's not such a... That's the pasuk from Mishlei. But how does he interpret this pasuk from Mishlei? K'shebata le'ocheach et zulatcha, lo tezalzeleu v'lo techarfeu lemor letz ata. When you come to rebuke someone, don't make them into a letz. He's not saying don't rebuke a letzan. He's saying don't make someone feel like they're a letz. That's a big difference. Ki bazeh yisna'echa v'lo yishma'echa. Because what will end up happening? He'll end up hating you and he won't listen to you. Rak hochach lechacham. What does that mean? Only find smart people and rebuke them? No. We understand what he's going to say. Emor lo halo chachamata. V'lama ta'aseh ko. Like, what's another way of saying that to our children? It's a statement I hated hearing.
We expect more.
I expect more of you, right? Why do I expect... Why?
You're better than that.
Oh, hard, right?
The final step is I'm disappointed. It's the same thing.
Well, you have to be...
That's a negative. I expect more is you're fantastic.
Right.
No, you have to qualify. If you say I'm
Right.
disappointed, you say because you're better than that. Like you have to say.
Or I'm disappointed in
because
your decision making on this matter, not
you
general
know
disappointment.
this is wrong.
Right.
Not your disappointment, but yeah.
Right. No, but that wording, you could. What did you say? You could do better than that.
No,
Yeah.
you're better than
You.
that.
Oh, you are better. Yeah.
You're better than that.
Yeah.
You know you're better than that.
You know. That's even better. You know that you're better than this. That's, I think, the best. I think that's really, hocheach lechacham v'yaveka.
You literally are saying you're smart. You know
Right.
that.
Right. What are other methods? What are other words? Let's just come up with more. What else is like the same lesson over there?
And just as an aside, I heard a share from Dr. Pelkovitz in the car last night. So he followed righteous Gentiles. They did a study over the last 4 generations of them, and that message was in almost every single family. That's how they train their children.
Which message?
You're better. I expect more.
Mhm.
You're better than that. And that's how they knew that there were
Mhm.
certain red lines that they couldn't pass and couldn't
Right.
cross, and that's what.
Interesting.
And
Okay,
so
so-
also they studied 4 generations of Jews and who stayed religious over 4 generations and who was able to the Masorah to pass it from one generation to the next, and the families that had that message. They interviewed a whole bunch of people.
Really?
It was that message. That was like the number
Interesting.
one nakuda.
That's
of,
very
like,
interesting.
That kept everyone.
Yeah. How do you prevent that message, or you know you're better than that, from just guilt in the way you run the house? Because they're very close.
They are. I was thinking something else. I was thinking, right now, none of our kids are jumping on each other or on us. So it's very easy for us to be like, yeah, that's what I'll do next time, right? But now let's go to yesterday afternoon, or whatever, or this early this morning, or
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning, or 4 p.m. today, whatever it is, you choose, right? When it's not the calm of like, you know that you're much better than this. Like, What's the trigger in our mind that doesn't allow us to go there, but we go to the other place usually? We go to the place where it's more guilt.
Right.
We do. So the first part of this pasuk, is actually what we usually go to earlier. We resort to that first. I don't know why.
I think most of us view, I mean, again, I have very young children, so I'm not to the stage to know that. I think most of us look at our children in a positive light. It's just in those moments, the friction builds or there's whatever it is, then that's when it comes out. It doesn't stem from a place of, I think of my child as a litz. It stems from a place of, oh my God, this stubbornness again, or again with the whatever fill in the blank that thing is, which is irritating Abba, and I think
But I make them feel that.
Right. Also, it's
How
easier.
big- yeah,
Without filtering your responses, what comes out of your mouth, it's just easier. It's just
Right.
natural.
Well, we're living
Right.
through our lens.
That's, I think, what it really
And,
is.
and this is trying to say, try to stop for a second, catch yourself. Just try to look at it through your kid's lens.
Right,
That can help give you pause to then say, in a loving way,
right.
you're better than that. You know you're better than that.
So,
And this
okay,
is
so
all
how do you do
tell
that?
them. Well, that's why texts and
Patience.
emails.
A lot of patience.
A lot of
Which is what
patience.
we generally don't have because we have 8 things going on at the same time.
Right.
And we can't address each one of these
Right.
instances
That's
like
right.
the whole world just stopped and
That's right.
You just
We
you
can
said
build.
exactly right. We have 10 things.
They don't.
yeah.
They don't.
And we're reacting to it based on our.
Yeah,
Right.
as far as they're concerned, that's the only thing that's happening. How we're reacting,
Uh-huh.
but we have life going on in life.
Right.
Yes, that
No,
is it.
it's not life.
You know?
It's basically Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, email, text message. That's what it
Certainly,
is.
You have 4 kids,
Oh, other children, you're
saying.
saying.
Just like work.
Going on, you're in the middle of this, and you're, it's.
Like you come
Evante.
home from like a tough day of work, you walk in, your kids really haven't done anything that catastrophic, but the littlest thing can set you off.
Maybe your kids have, I'm just kidding.
I mean, for sure. I'll even sometimes come home and I'll be like, guys, I had a really tough day. Don't try my patience. Don't try my patience.
That's what I feel anytime I come Friday night to shul sometimes and the guns are out. I'm always like, you'll see, and I look at each other like, don't. We all have to double down now.
He showed up on his.
I wasn't here that show.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but someone suggested that in that kind of situation when you're coming home, take a few minutes before you go in the house. Because really, what do we say? I mean, I think we have to, one, increase the value, the level of importance of our children
Right.
to a higher level than our phone or whatever, or that we had a bad day. And so our mindset, okay, I'm going to go in here and, they're going to maybe try me, but I just need to suck it up.
Right.
And I need to realize that they are most important to me. And also to work on how I see my children. To change my paradigm, my view of them. I'm not sure, what the mindset is before you might say, why are you doing this stupid thing versus, you're better than that.
Right.
You have to change something, like I said, in our brain. It's how we see them and what's our intention that we want to get across. Sometimes we have to wait to change our intention before we even say it.
I heard of Laser Brody talk about this. Maybe, you ever hear him speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke about this. Like, always carry a sandwich with you when you come home in the evening, and before you walk into the house. Even if you're late, I think he said, eat a sandwich before you walk into the house.
Just to give yourself that pause.
Eat a sandwich. Put something in your system.
You're not angry.
You're not hungry. You're not angry. Just eat. Yeah, hangry.
This all comes back to which is the common thread through all of these teachings that we're learning. It's just you have to just elevate your consciousness. What's
Absolutely.
really going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's like the end game.
I'm not suggesting that it's easy. I'm not saying
Right.
that he's trying to show us.
And it's
how to
hardest.
get there.
It's hardest with. It's harder. That's hard enough when it's just you alone. It's hard, with children. And remember, he's speaking to. This is why it seems sometimes impossible because he's speaking also to the educator, to the Melamed, who has how many kids running around? We're talking about, well, in some extreme cases, about 7 or 8 or whatever. But sometimes, we're talking about like 3, 4, 5 kids. He's also referring to the guy that's in charge of 30 kids running
40
around.
kids.
40.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was around, if the one shaila I would have regarding this, say if it was around today, would say, would you, Heiliger Rebbe, would you be makbid on having smaller classes? Based on everything that you've been teaching and what you've seen, does it really boil down to that it really should be that there should be one mechanech, one Rebbe, and max 15 students in a class. I wonder what he would say. Okay, let's go weiter. We're in the third line. אמור לו, הלא חכם אתה ולמה תעשה כה, ויאהבך וישמע לך. You know that you're better. עד כאן לשון הקודש. This is the words of the Shla. ועד כמה צריכים להיזהר בדורנו בזה, how much we have to be careful in our generation, כשלב הנער גם בעצמו כל כך מתרחק מאיתנו. The heart of the youth as it is, without us even doing anything, is choosing to distance himself from us so much more. It's nothing to do with what anything bad you've done. Just on its own, that's the trend that was happening back then, 1930, 31, 32, that on its own kids were feeling distanced from their parents. וחוץ מזה, שהוכח לחכם, and even if you rebuke talking to them like they're someone that's smart, כנזכר לאל, besides that, נחוץ לנו כדי לקרב את לב הנער אלינו. What we need to do is not just make them feel that they're smart, but we also have to bring their heart back to us as well, which is a whole nother avoda. But it starts from what he just said before, I think. גם לעצם החינוך יועיל הרבה, also for education in general, this will be very helpful. לפתח את כוחי התלמיד של הגוף והמוח לצאת ממסתרם. To develop the powers of the student, their body and their mind, to leave their hiding places and to come reveal themselves. Meaning, they're kochos that are hiding, right? להתחזק ולהתעזר בתורה ובעבודה, to strengthen themselves, to become עוזר ישראל בגבורה. How do you say עוזר? Huh?
It's really to gird.
Gird, yeah. No, that's what it means, yeah. With Torah and Avodah, meaning, what is he saying over here? When you're talking to your child and you think it's just about chinuch in one area, what you really could do when you talk to them like they're a chacham, is at the same time that you're maybe making a point about that they know better, they could do this better, because they have the notion, they have the ability, they have the wisdom inside of them to be better. You're schlepping out of them a bunch of kochos that have been shluffing or they've been hiding. And you think you're just educating and disciplining them in a certain area, but if you do it properly, if you learn to talk to your children properly, you're helping them, you're enabling them that all their kochos that have been hiding, you're helping them manifest and to develop and to bring it out מהכוח אל הפועל. משל למי שמשבחים אותו בפניו שנדבן הוא. Parable to someone that you praise them in front of them that they're a big בעל צדקה. אז יש שיתחזק לתת נדבה. So, ever happen that you invite someone, you're at a parlor meeting, and then you say, oh, Mr. So-and-so, we're so inspired the amount of tzedakah you've been giving this town for so long. It's amazing. Thank you so much for coming here. You're such a great example. So he's saying, at that kind of person, Avi, this is like, what we have to deal with now. אז יש שיתחזק לתת נדבה, שלא היה יכול מקודם למשול ברוחו ולתנה. So now, a specific someone, there's a type of person, only now he's able to be about to give. מפני שבזה שמשבחים אותו לנדבן, because instead of referring to this guy what you really thought about him 10 seconds before, which is, you stingy, you stingy kamtzan, and he knew you thought that about him, but once you said about him, wow, what a bad tzedakah you are, now he feels that he's able, to become that person that can give. Look, so the Piaseczna says, what happened over here basically? Third line. Pitu et koach nafsho. לצאת ולהתגבר על מידת הקמצנות שלו. The koach of his soul was seduced to come out and overcome the midah of being stingy. That's, he says, what happens basically. It's all games, it's all tactics, but you basically seduced that part of him that is now overcome by, wait a second, he thinks he thinks I'm really, really holy right now. Thinks I'm an amazing person.
Can't disappoint him.
Huh?
Can't disappoint him.
What do you mean?
Yeah, thinks I'm really holy. I can't.
Right. העלית אותו. Yeah.
We also went from judging him to looking at the good point in him of what he was doing and focusing on that.
Right. Only in our mouths, not really in our hearts when it comes to trying to get money out of people.
Well, fake it till you make it.
Right. But he's really referring to what you're saying over here, is that the way that you look at your child or this person changed, causing other powers to seduce the weaker sides, and thus bringing out something that we want to see and want to love.
Well, there's a really big, strong point here. He's saying even if you want to scream at your kid for whatever he's done, you have to, like you said, you have to warm him up,
Right.
stroke his ego. Otherwise, you're just shutting him down
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah, that's so hard to remember B'Shat Masa, while they're doing what they're doing, to be able to implement this. Very heavy stuff. Very hard stuff. צריך המלמד והאב לחפש אחר איזו מידה טובה שיש בתלמיד, לשבחו בה ויחזקהו לאמור. So the melamed and the father need to search and find this midah that exists within the kid, and to strengthen him and praise him and say to him, כמה הכשרה ויכולת של גדלות בתורה ועבודה. Wow, look at your capabilities of becoming such a ben Torah. Or like when your kid does say something that has to do with Torah, say, wow, I'm so inspired by how much you love what you're talking about, and like reveal to them that they really do love Torah, they just don't realize it yet. עומדת לך למטרה, ואם רק תבוא תגיע להן. So you say to your child, to your student, you with your kochot, with your strength that you apparently have, you have a matara, you have a goal, and if you just work hard, you'll get there. How many times did we hear that? If you just, keep her, well, I don't know, whatever the lush is. Huh? Apply yourself. How many guidance counselors told you that in high school? Apply yourself, right? But you can't just talk with this because you read it in a book. They'll know. If you come back from PSS this year tonight and be like, you walk in, first of all, they see you through the window, you're like for 5 minutes, you're like eating a big burger, you're going like this, and you walk into the house and they're crazy, and you'd be like, your koach that you have to throw your sister across the other side of the must mean that you're also able to, inside, be very strong. Yeah, okay. You have to have seichel and dat, you have to do it batamt, you have to trust that you know the way how to speak, how to reach the heart.
I think it has to do with authenticity as well.
Absolutely. That's what he's saying. Seichel uvedat means students can tell when you're faking it. Children can tell when you're faking it. But you have to do it in a way also that also avoids prevents something else from happening. What's another fear that might happen from talking like this? Is that you might be pumping up the ego too much, that they start walking around feeling, wow, I'm so incredible. But the next word is hitrashlut, which means negligence. I got this, meaning I don't have to work so hard. My father said I have this already, I don't have to work on the other stuff.
Life pulls you down enough, that's the counterbalance to that.
Nachon.
I mean, there's enough
At what age,
people
though?
out there that try to pull you down, so you give your kids enough confidence, they'll,
To a point.
the rest of the world will pull on the other side.
Well, he's under the assumption that everyone in the world is learning this sefer, so no one's left on the other side.
No, look at these kids, like this culture of everybody getting an award. That's not necessarily
that's
good
culture,
for these
not
kids.
parent. I can't imagine a parent
But
giving
there are
kids
parents
too much
There are parents that do that.
good feeling. Like, I would err on that side of I'm a bad parent because I gave my kid too much love and too much confidence.
Right.
Because the rest of the world is negative. And
It's not about love and
pessimistic.
confidence, it's about compliments.
That's what I'm saying, or compliments.
But
or
then,
saying
you,
you're the best.
then
you're
you
the best.
empower them potentially to exercise bad behavior. Potentially.
Not if it's authentic love and.
Were you ever praised as a kid
Always.
for something? Hold on.
I'm saying I was always praised, and the rest of the world is trying to pull you down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I
we
think that
were
you're
raised-
I'm
definitely
optimistic.
the
That's
exception
what
and not the rule.
Were you ever
The
praised though
exception.
for something where you didn't
Constantly.
work hard for something and you did well, and then somebody's like, "Wow, amazing," and you're like, "I got this." I'm not gonna work hard. I meet adults that are like this. I'm interested in how you would respond.
I was never that smart that I was able to hack it.
I'm interested.
Not yet, adain.
I'm interested in how you would respond to the norm today in psychology, saying that don't praise your kids for calling them smart. You're supposed to say praise the process.
Working hard, right?
Right, because you call them smart, and then they're afraid to lose that smart title, and then they don't take risks, and then they don't actually grow on it. Right? So I'm interested. He's saying that the opposite is going to happen. They're going to become, too proud and
Right.
then lazy. Here, it's not learning about like actually taking the risk. I don't know how you respond to that today.
What do you think he's responding to this? Like how? Azov, what would be today? What do you think he's saying based on
He's saying,
this?
like, don't overdo it. He's saying there's a
No, but the don't overdo it is because of a specific reason.
right, because you don't want their kids.
Is that the
to
same
inflate
reason that
this
you're
kid's
saying?
ego.
No,
It's not the same.
The reason that is kind of reported today in psychology for children is because they won't take risks and they won't grow and whatever brought them to the end result that you call them smart today, they won't get there tomorrow because now they're like holding on to this thing. I'm smart, don't screw up kind
Right.
of approach. So I guess
Yeah.
Well, we've talked, what I've talked about in the past is saying what you see. In other words, not that they're smart. It kind of goes back to, wow, you thought a lot about this. You worked hard at this. You did X, as
Right.
opposed to you're smart, you're brilliant, and those kinds of things. It's focused on what the action is that they took.
Right.
like,
That's
in other
very-
words, you did well today.
You were so smart in what you did. How's that?
Or it could be like, wow, look, you worked so hard to study for that test, and look at the grade you got.
What if the grade is horrible?
And you have to say, so you see how you worked at studying for this test, and you got a 65. Imagine if you just worked a little bit harder.
65. You're being optimistic. I said horrible. You said 65.
Okay.
Maybe the
You
last
get,
test was
25.
No, what are the grades these days in the world?
Grades are good, bro.
Grades are good.
No, you would just say, I'm proud of you for working hard. I mean, that's kind of the...
Did you do your best? I mean, you did your
Yeah.
best.
Because the idea is the work that was put in, not the result. That's like a lot of it.
It's true.
Right? It's the work that was put in.
The process, yeah.
The process.
That's very
Because the
good.
results
Yeah,
can't be
yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's just opposed to, wow, you're so smart.
Right.
Look what you did.
Right.
I'm proud of you for working
That's
hard.
definitely
Nachon.
to focus on how.
Whatever. We're speaking. All we're talking about now is like positive, good experiences. We really have to figure out that that's not what we really have to worry about.
Right.
Like, how good do we praise our children when they're good already? It's more, it's the other side that we really have to figure out.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
know.
It's not that it doesn't reward effort, it rewards result. Right?
That's what's sad.
But fine, but I can't go to my job and say, look, I'm sorry I failed in a task, I tried really hard.
I know, but if you build up your children in this respect, then there'll be results when they're 18 and 20.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm saying if
But
you-
that
Nachon.
happens
You give
In
them
your
the
job,
foundation.
you're right. You're right.
No,
But the
that happens in our
chovah.
work. We do screw up sometimes in our work. And people know we screw up in our work sometimes. My boss knows if I screwed up at something.
No, but the Rebbe here, but the Piaseczny Rebbe here is speaking to us about, the situations and the times in life where the last thing in the world you feel like doing is praising your child for effort. That's really what I feel he's saying. He's saying you're not gonna, when the results are really bad, you're not gonna want to find. It's not gonna be that important to you to notice. Wow, mamish, you tried so hard. It's almost, you look at your children like you look at your job. That like it's and we can't. In the work field, it's true. Kobe goes to his superior and says, "Remember that deal that I completely blew in? I cost the company now 3 years of damage and everything. Can I make you feel better?" Sure, right? The superior says, "How? You know how much I discovered about myself, about hard efforts, right?" Right? So because the world we live in, unfortunately, is results. If you do that to it now with a child, if a child comes and says to your parent, "You know how hard I tried on this bechina in Sefer Vayikra, but I got so lost with korbanos ola and shlamim and chatas, I couldn't, I figured out, but I noticed how much I cared to want to understand it. It just didn't add up on some kind of other level, right?" That we do have a heart to say, "You know what? In my book, you got 100." Although it's still not enough because I don't want my child to keep on growing up in a society where, in school they're failures, but at home Abba thinks I'm a tzaddik.
Well, that's why you say you do it safe.
You got to do it b'seichel v'das.
That's with everything.
Yeah.
Well, the
yeah.
question is, he failing in school or just in that topic? I can't be
I don't know.
a basketball player.
Yet. Yet. Okay, we're going to pause here and we're going to finish this Be'ez Hashem Tuesday morning. Okay, we're gonna finish the whole this beautiful Hakdama, which is I feel like should have been its own sefer on its own. This Hakdama, it's gorgeous. Ashreinu.
Waiting for them to find the book on Zugiyot. Find it.
It's probably buried somewhere in the rubbles of the Warsaw Ghetto somewhere else.
Is anybody driving
check
up the hill
off.
by any chance? Anybody driving up the hill?
Yeah, where do you